or?
Well, I was disappointed. Obviously, I've been out on the road recruiting, and I kind of followed it a little bit. I got the notices and everything, so I had kind of set myself up for it. So when the news actually happened, I was kind of ready for it, expected it, and of course, I was disappointed and sad, mainly for our players, in particular our seniors, who won't get another chance. But I think I've handled it okay, since then, and kind of see the bigger picture and understand it.
Eric and Ryan?
Yeah.
What do you even say to your team? How do you address them?
I'm sorry, I missed that.
What do you even say to your team? How do you even address this type of situation? And what do you say to help them work through this?
Well, I've been in contact with all of them, not all of them face-to-face, because, after our game on Sunday, I gave the team the week off. We weren't going to meet up again until tomorrow night. And so they've kind of scattered, all different places all over. So there were 7 here that I met with this morning. But I have not seen Sabrina in person, or Ruthie or Satu. And, but I've talked to them either on the phone or via text. And, they're all kind of processing it in their own way, and they're obviously all disappointed. I thought the group that I met with this morning had a chance to talk with. Their attitudes were pretty good. A couple of them you could tell were a little more emotional and disappointed than the others. But, it's a resilient group. It's unfortunate we didn't get to see them in this tournament, because I think it would have been a real special run.
Would you be in favor of the NCAA allowing seniors to come back, or do you think that's not manageable in this sport?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't given that a ton of thought. I heard that it's bandied about today, and in particular maybe spring sport athletes. I just worry about my seniors, and I quite frankly, I don't know what their future holds. I don't know what the WNBA is going to do. They've yet to talk about their operations, but if Sabrina wants to come back and is granted another year, I don't know. My guess is that they're ready to move on with their lives, and this was a special season. I know we talked about unfinished business. I tweeted out yesterday that it was going to be just that. But when we look back, it's still an incredible season. And incredible what they did, not just in winning and that kind of stuff, but actually the attention they brought to the game of basketball. I don't know if there's been a women's basketball team outside of UConn on a couple of their special teams that have gotten the kind of attention that this team has nationally, not just from women's basketball fans and our core constituency, but men's basketball fans, NBA players. I think it's unprecedented, quite frankly. And so this team will always be remembered, maybe now for a couple of reasons, but I think certainly because of the special people that they are individually, and then how the greatness of this group collectively.
All right, let's go Jerry, then Julian, then Hayden.
Yeah, on this quilt meltdown, but do you think the NCAA, I asked Coach Altman the same question about postponement, but they just has to trust that, they're losing a lot of money, so they probably thought of every possible way. But did you get an adequate explanation of why, if things settle down, it couldn't be June Madness or July Madness or something else, or you just kind of, that's it, and it's the way it is, nothing we can do about it?
Well, my guess is that they didn't make this decision willy-nilly. I'm sure that they consulted with, experts in the medical field and, other areas that, that know a heck of a lot more than a bunch of coaches would. And listen, it's hard to say right now, but my guess is, or my opinion is, I think they made the right choice, a right decision.
That's the way it is. We tried.
Well, I don't know what kind of explanation we would want.
They considered postponement. Here's a
Well, from what I understand, that they did. That's what I'm saying. I think this was a group of smart people that sat down and tried to figure out a way to do this, to make it work. And from what I understand, that was definitely one of the things that they talked about. But I don't know. I do know that I got a call today from Mark Emmert himself, and I really appreciated that. He said he had reached out to a handful of coaches, and he was gracious and apologetic, and just said, I really was excited to watch your team compete in the NCAA tournament, and I thought that actually showed a level of class, for him to do that. He didn't need to do that, and so anyway, I just it remains to be seen what this is going to be like. I don't know.
Is there any comfort at all in knowing that this team is at least able to have that moment as regular season Pac-12 champs here and at the tournament?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I was thinking about that this morning when we met as a department. To some degree, we had a sense of closure, by winning a couple of championships. The last thing that we were fortunate enough to do was cut down nets and celebrate a championship, and I think that's better than a lot of these spring sport athletes who really haven't even had a chance to start their sports. They haven't even gotten into the Pac-12 part of the schedule, and for their season to be taken away, before it really got started I would think be even tougher and more difficult to swallow. So like I said, we had some closure. I think we really felt like we were, and I'll just say it, I think we were the best team in the country. I think we were a team that was playing as well, if not better than anybody. We obviously had a mission, and we had a reason to really want to get this done. And it's unfortunate that that's taken away, but certainly won't in the long run take away from all the great memories that we had and the things that we accomplished.
Katie, you're part of a basketball family. Will's Zags were destined to go on something. Jack's LCC women, they had a great season. How have they been kind of processing everything?
Yeah, I think Will's fine. I think he's a little I talked to him yesterday, talked to him again today. It was going to be his first opportunity, and he had the same kind of closure that we did. I saw him and was on the court they were cutting down their nets on Tuesday night, and they had this same opportunity to go win a national championship. I think they may have been the odds-on favorite to get that done, just like we were. But he's got other opportunities. He realizes that. He did tell me that he felt really bad and actually broke down, talking about his, the seniors in that group that he won't get to play with again. So he gets it. He's been around this all his life. He understands. And but we got to move on. And I told my team today, I said, it's okay to grieve and take your time. I said, but one of the things we learn as athletes and certainly as coaches, it's part of my DNA to move on. When we lose a game, hey, what do we do to win tomorrow? And so I'm trying personally to get over this and move on to what's next. But there's always going to be a little hole in my heart and for this group of seniors, one of which I was hoping would be here, but they're again scattered to the winds.
So James and then Brandon.
To Kelly, but one's kind of a yes no. I understand they were scattered. Has Hobby been able to return?
He's not here yet, but he got out. He was on his flight, so we're happy for Chavi. Yeah, I think he made it like 3 hours under the travel ban.
The second being, because we don't know how long the delay is, and I realize it sounds like a crazy hypothetical, but
Yeah.
the whole world's been a crazy hypothetical.
Yeah, sure.
One of your players even alluded to it, but she's hardly alone to this. If this is delayed enough, and the WNBA is delayed, or who knows what, into the summer, and it's the pre-fall term, so in theory they are still technically not pros yet. If there were a way to convene 4, 8, 16 of the top teams in the country and just settle this some way, somehow, in August.
Yeah, no. I don't think that's all that practical. Yeah, in my opinion, And I don't know what that would accomplish, actually.
Kelly, you've talked a lot about just how much fun you had coaching this group.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're saying that you were preparing sort of for this to happen in the day that it did happen, how are you able to prepare for you knew you had more games with this group.
Mhm.
So how are you able to prepare to know that you have coached your last game with this special group?
Well, same emotions that you have at the end all the time. This just leaves a little bit of a question mark and a hole, but it's always tough when you know you've coached your last game with a certain team. I'm not over it yet, and it will take a while, but I don't know if this is answering your question or not, but I just really feel for the senior class. This will never happen again. It just won't happen again. There won't be another group like this ever. We might have equally impressive teams, but what this group did to capture the imagination and the attention and the love of a brand new fan base is really, really incredible. And now the others that may come, after, and they're going to reap some of the benefits that they received from this group. Now we have a rabid fan base that's going to be with this group now for the foreseeable future. Well, somebody had to get that started, and that was this group. That was Sabrina, it was Ruthie, it was Satu. Those three got to play together for 3 years. 3 icons, 3 of the top picks in this coming draft, if we have one. But I know I'll never forget this group, ever.
In the back, Bill?
Yeah, Coach, you've talked a lot about the impact of the fans here Matthew Night, and with the NCAA regional that was supposed to happen in Portland, that you were expecting a home court advantage. I'm curious to know what you have to say to the actual fans in the community of Eugene, who, like you just said, have come so far behind this group.
Yeah, well, I would obviously want to thank the fans, and I feel for them too. So I've talked about how I'm disappointed for the student athletes. I am for the fans. It would have the environment that we've had in the last half of the Pac-12 season, in particular, the crowds, the energy. It's not just the numbers of people there; it's the energy. How many of our games actually were close into mid-second half? Few. But the fans stayed the entire time. And I think it's because, number one, they appreciate good basketball. And we never let off the gas. I don't care what the score was and the time left. We played as hard as we could until the end of the game. And so they could appreciate that, I think, number one. I think, number two, I think we're smart enough to realize what they were witnessing and watching an iconic group, quite frankly. I don't know another term to use, but and they were seeing in particular a couple of the players that are going to go down among Oregon's greatest athletes ever. And so they had that appreciation. Then the excitement it has generated throughout the entire state. When your governor comes to multiple games and is excited to be there, when your U.S. Senator Wyden texts me after every game. That might be him now. Sorry about that. Text me after every game saying, well done, and that's pretty special and does not happen in most places. And so I'm sad that we didn't get a chance to again showcase women's basketball to the country in Portland. I think the crowds there this year would have smashed whatever we got last year. And Portland's one of the finalists for a future Final Four. And I think anytime we would, the more opportunities we had to showcase what a great basketball state this is, I think, helps maybe get that Final Four bid. So, hey, the fans have been here. Huge support, and so we owe them a lot. I know if the players were here, they would say the same thing. In fact, I know they always do. And they follow us to Vegas, too, and that was pretty cool. That was like a home game.
Another kind of logistical and practical question, Kelly, but you do have a significant number of international players, many of them freshmen. I don't pretend to know where they live. But if this campus were to close dorms, as others in this country have, major universities have, and there's travel restrictions for those who are abroad, from a practical standpoint, how do you advise your international players if they're unable to stay where they presently are, but going home isn't a great option?
And some of our international players have gone home, and we allowed them to do that. I didn't encourage or discourage it. I said, feel free to do that. I don't know. I guess we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. My guess is from the countries that they're, coming back from, I think they're going to be okay. I don't think there's a travel ban, but we'll cross that. That's what I'm saying. I think, in the next 30 days, we'll see what transpires. It could be completely different, for the good or the bad. So, I don't know. I'm sure there's going to be a provision. There's going to be something that, they're not going to stay stranded. And I'm sure that the university would find a way to work with that student athlete. Yeah. I hope that does not happen. Let's pray that it doesn't.
Anything else?